Welcome back to VL Speaks with You. I am Virna Lisa, and this is episode 13. I hope that you are staying safe. We had some crazy stuff going on here with the air quality in the Northeast, and it was happening in other parts of the United States as well. So I hope everybody's safe. I saw some dude running, like exercise running. Yeah, on Thursday. I have no idea what he was thinking. Obviously, not much. Thinking, I'm going to go exercise in the smoke. It'll be good for my lungs. Yeah. Okay, this week I'm going to focus on possessiveness, grasping, covetedness, and how that plays out in our lives. Okay? Let's start with the things we own. So, how does it look when we're talking about people being possessive? Well, I think of kids that have plenty of toys and don't want to share any of them. But you know what, adults do that too, right? You got plenty of something, but you're like, no, that's mine. Like Daffy Duck and the Bugs Bunny cartoon. I don't know if you remember that one. Mine. It's all mine. That would be possessiveness, right? And extreme attachment to your possessions. I think we can all relate to that. Am I telling my age, Daffy Duck? Now, also, it's not just being attached to it, but overly identifying with it, right? So that if you were to lose these things, all of a sudden you would be devastated. It would be emotionally devastating for you to lose those things. And also taking better care of your stuff than you would someone else's stuff. For example, you've got your lawn and you're cleaning your lawn and it's adjoining, there's an invisible property line, and someone else has got their lawn and you're just kind of blowing your stuff onto somebody else's lawn and you're like, my stuff is more important than your stuff. Does this play out in life? All the time. And I'm sure that if you're not doing it, you've witnessed people doing it, and you may even know these people, aside from being one of them. It happens, right? We all have things to work on. And so in the overly identifying with these things that you covet and that you have very strong attachment to, you also mourn their loss when they're gone. So the key here is, what is the solution? The solution is that all of these things in the world are there for us to use, but we don't own them, right? Even if you paid a lot of money for them. Ultimately, they're there for you to enjoy. So whatever things do come into your experience, either by purchasing them or their gifts, to enjoy them without letting them have this kind of hold on you, right? That you're devastated if you don't have it. Just put it, and also just putting it to good use, right? And you can share as well. Because sharing is always fun, especially when you have plenty of something. Alrighty. Next phase that we see ourselves dealing with this is in our interpersonal relationships. And sometimes you don't even know that it's happening at first until you get into hot water. All right. Numerous ways that this plays itself out. The first one of the ways that I think of is control, possessiveness. When you say, oh, that person is so possessive, it's not healthy. That, you're right, it's not. Person trying to control everything to ensure that they feel secure, that they've got you where they want you. Okay? And it's not just in like romantic relationships or sexual relationships. It happens in the workplace as well. I'm sure we've all had that boss that's a control freak and a micromanager. Yeah, that's some serious possessiveness right there. Yeah, and constantly grasping, to keep things in control. And fear is behind that, right? Also, another thing is in closer relationships, you've got the situation where you become too emotionally dependent on another person, right? In order to feel safe and secure. That's not really a great expression of love, usually. You want two whole people that are involved with each other. Things are much healthier in that situation. Another way that you can see it playing out is giving too much. Right? You're like, well, if I just shower this person with tons of attention and things, they will want to be with me. They'll want to stay with me. They'll see my value. Not the healthiest behavior, to be sure. Also, you could, which there means that there's a lack of reciprocity there, right? If you're giving too much. The flip side of that coin is a person that is taking and not giving back. And usually those two people are in relationships with each other. The overgiver and the taker. Takers should be with takers. That's just a little sidebar. But that's another way that plays out. One is giving too much. The other one is taking too much. Or, a little bit more insidious, is giving with the intention of getting something. And of course, if you're not wise to what's going on, this person will get upset with you when you're not giving back. Like, let's say you're not in a position to give back exactly what it is that they're giving. The person that's giving with intentions or seeking to manipulate the situation usually gets very annoyed and angry in some situations. I'll give you an example. Out to dinner with someone, and that other person brings a bottle of wine, and there's a corkage fee at the restaurant, and this person that has the wine offers some to the wait staff, and if they want to share it, and when they get the bill, they see that they were charged for the corkage fee, and they get really upset, and don't understand why they were charged that corkage fee because they gave some wine. They weren't giving it because they were being generous. They were giving it because they were hoping that they didn't have to pay the corkage fee. And they got charged anyway. But there's a little example. So we can have healthy relationships with other people. I mean, hopefully those are the kinds of relationships that we have. But trying to control and manipulate other people usually does not work in the long run. Now, in light of what we've just seen here with these crazy wildfires, and mind you, they're happening all the time. I was living in Northern California. Fire season was late summer, early fall. And this has to do with human beings coveting natural resources, taking way more than is necessary, depleting resources and not caring, and then expecting not to pay the price. And I'm going to say, check yourself before you wreck yourself and the rest of us, because it's happening. Mother Nature's calling in. She's not having it anymore. And if you don't know that, and if you can't see it, you're blind. Or you just don't want to see it. This is real. I mean, this month is World Oceans Month, Orca Month, World Oceans Day. I mean, it's every day. It's all the time. We need the oceans and the forests to be intact and functioning properly, healthfully, because there's no way that we're going to survive without them. You can't keep raping Mother Nature and expecting her not to fight back. And it's not necessary. There's plenty of resources for us here on this planet for everyone to enjoy, but not to take advantage of. And that is going to take each and every one of us to do a personal inventory, not just about what we're doing with the things we own and the stuff we have and the relationships that we have, but what is your relationship with nature? I mean, do you think that you can just take whatever you want and that it's not going to affect humanity? Yes, it is. It is. It's happening right now. So if each person took at least 10% of their day to do some personal inventory on what they're doing, how they're utilizing their resources, what you're doing yourself in the way of habits that you have throughout your day. If everybody did just 10%, imagine what a difference that would make. If every person, because there's like billions of people on the planet, and figure there are some people that are just not going to do it. I mean, I've heard people say, well, they don't really recycle at those recycle plants. And I said, so that means that you're not going to put your stuff in the right recycling bins? Hello? No, you do it because that's your part. You don't work at the recycling plant, but you are buying things that require recycling. So recycle them. That's just one example of the things that you can do. Again, not throwing your crap on someone else's lawn and caring more about yourself, but not with, we can't afford to behave that way anymore. It's just not, you can't do it. I used to see this in Northern California when there was a drought, and there is kind of still. I mean, right now they're doing okay because they got plenty of rain and snow. But one person would have a drought-resistant lawn, and the other person would be like, no, I don't care. I'm paying for the water. Really? Just change your lawn. I mean, what's the big deal? It's going to cost you less money, and it'll help everyone out in the end. There were some towns where people were outing each other to the authorities because they weren't following the guidelines. And I was like, that's what you get. So, is it a lot in a short period of time? Yes, but worth taking the time to listen to, worth taking the time to take a personal inventory. And I believe that if you're taking better care of yourself, like from the inside out, mentally, emotionally, physically, that you're going to find yourself caring more and more about these things. Right? We're all connected. There's no disconnect. We're all connected. What we do affects everybody else around us, whether you think it's true or not. That's just the case. Alrighty, so check yourself before you wreck yourself. Be mindful. And I will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in. Ciao.